In this video, I'm going to do an unboxing and an initial setup and review of the Amcrest 1051 and the Xiaovv Q8 indoor pan tilt cameras. We're doing expensive versus cheap. Make sure you hit subscribe below and keep an eye out for more videos. Hi, I'm Will from Surridge Tech, and today we're going to have a look at these two cameras. We're basically comparing two ends of the spectrum in terms of indoor pan and tilt cameras. I'm going to do an unboxing of each of them, we're going to have a look at the features of them, we're going to set them up, and then I'll tell you my initial thoughts on the two cameras. So on this side, we have the Xiaovv indoor pan and tilt camera. It's a smart Wi-Fi camera V380 on the front. This is what I would call a cheap Chinese camera. It costs £20 from Banggood. On this side, we have an Amcrest pan and tilt camera, the IP4M1051B. This is a 4 megapixel indoor security camera. This is what I would consider to be on the other end of the spectrum, retailing at £120. So, let's unbox them. Let's start with this one. This box is slightly damaged in the post. Not unsurprising, given it's travelled quite a long way. Inside we have a selection of things. Instructions of cloud disk card. A manual. We have a little mounting bracket, that's quite nice. So that just screws onto the bottom and then you can angle it. We have a power supply, which happens to just be a USB. It's come with the European one, so I'll just find another one. And it's a micro USB. Got a bit of mounting hardware. And the camera itself. No distinctive features on the camera. You can see the lens. It's got something above the lens, which I'm guessing is an IR LED. Ethernet port, power, and a reset button. And if you tilt the lens up, you've got a micro SD card slot as well. So that's great. Let's have a look at the other side of the spectrum. So, in this box, it's a much sturdier box. You can tell someone's actually spent money on the cardboard for this. We've got a security notice telling us to keep up to date on firmware, warranty card, and a quick start guide. We've also got another box, which I'm guessing is going to have the power supply and the hardware. Mounting hardware, which is actually very similar in design to the cheap one. Just a bit bigger, I guess. So that's an interesting they've gone for the same design. Got some mounting screws. Again, USB power supply, except this time it's American. Micro USB cable. Much longer version. This is only probably a meter, and that looks like quite significantly more. And it comes with an Ethernet cable. Very useful. And then we've also got the camera itself. So if we get rid of that. In terms of weight, it's definitely a lot heavier. Well, it's definitely heavier. I wouldn't say it was significantly heavier, but it's definitely heavier. Got a nice pan and tilt. Motors feel sturdy. Move this horrible plastic. So on the back of this one, remember on the back of this one we had power and Ethernet. On the back of this one we've got power, Ethernet, and an SD card slot on the back. And then we've also got an audio out and an audio in. So that's interesting. I'm not quite sure the purpose of that. but I'm sure it's a nice feature to have. It has got a slightly smaller jack on this one. This one was micro USB. This is just a small 5-volt power jack. Yeah, that's them. They seem, I mean, there's not a huge amount you can say. This one is a lot lighter. This one has got more of a professional look. It's nice in the matte black. So, let's have a look at the features. The Amcrest 1051 has a retail price of $150, whereas the Xiaovv Q8 has a price of £26. Obviously, there's a bit of a difference there. In terms of quality, the Amcrest has a 4 megapixel sensor, whereas the Q8 has 2 megapixels. The Amcrest has a 120 degree field of view, whereas the Q8 only has 72 degrees. The Amcrest can work on 2.4 GHz as well as 5 GHz Wi-Fi, whereas the Q8 can only work on 2.4 GHz. The Amcrest has a 16 times digital zoom. I'm not entirely sure what that means, because you can just zoom in on an image. It doesn't actually have that zoom functionality. It's just got more megapixels that you can zoom into and still get a reasonable resolution, I think. And obviously the Q8 doesn't. And then the Amcrest has the RTSP stream and the OnVIF support built in, whereas for the Q8, it takes a bit of faff. I'll go on to more about that later. In terms of the mutual features, they both have motion detection, they both have local storage, remote viewing, two-way audio, night vision, FTP, they both have Ethernet, which is new for the indoor pan-tilt cameras that I've tried, and they both have cloud storage options available. Okay then, let's set them up. So we use the V380 app for this camera here. Okay, yes, send me notifications. User policy, try without account. Let's try without an account and see what happens. So we plug it in. I want to add a smart Wi-Fi. Then we wait for a voice prompt, I believe. That was a voice prompt, but it was definitely in Chinese. Ah. Scan the QR code. That I can do. Yeah, I have no clue what you're saying, still. Okay, that's good. It's giving me a different voice prompt, and we're starting to connect. There we go, we're in. Device connection failed. Thought we were in. We're in. Fantastic. So first things first, let's do a clap test, eh? That's not bad. Moving over to HD. That's also not bad. Quite impressed with that. Let's try moving it. It's a very fast motor. Very fast motor. I reckon that's the fastest. One, two. Audio works. It's not a particularly loud speaker built in. We can take a snapshot, or we can record. So, what else can we do? Invert the picture. Nice. Preset pan tilt zoom. That's nifty. It's a very nippy camera, actually. And a motion track. Okay, that's actually quite a cool little feature, I have to say. By the looks of things, that is all there is to this. Got any device settings? Device details. Anything useful? Update that firmware later. Video record, you can select continuous, event, and record audio or not on high or low quality. We've got an alarm, which doesn't seem to do anything. Oh. The alarm works. Language, English. Lovely. IP address, voice prompt. Additional alarm devices are not supported. So that seems reasonably good, actually. For something that is so cheap, I can't really complain. The image quality isn't, it's not amazing at all by any stretch. But you can see things. You could tell a person, especially in a small space, you could easily tell a person that's only standard definition. So I'm very pleased with that. So, the Amcrest View Pro. We got Wi-Fi camera. We want to use Wi-Fi setup. And then we scan the QR code. Give your device a name. Amcrest PT. Admin. Wi-Fi password. Okay, we're in. Start live view. Let's see what you can do for us. Okay, now we're in. Walkthrough. Nope, we'll do that myself. Okay, so we can see a lot of cameras in one go if we wanted, or just the one. We've got, we can favorite some groups of cameras. Motion detection settings. Motion detection, advanced config, schedule for motion detection, that's nice. Anti-dither, not entirely sure. Sensitivity, out of 100. Region setting, again, that's so dumb on a camera that moves. But there we go. Push notification. Face detection. We've actually got to select all of these by the looks of things. Not sure what they do, but we'll stick it all on there. Record with a delay of 10 seconds. Snapshot. Email alerts. Lovely. We've got a microphone. We've got audio. We've got a pan and tilt. Ooh, very nice. It's nice to be able to control the motion just by touching on the screen, not having to deal with but you've got presets. Not sure quite how we save those presets, but they work quite nicely. Okay, then we've got our resolution, standard definition, which we can preset to our resolution, frame rate, bit rate. Or we can go over to high resolution, which instantly looks a heck of a lot better. And that is 4 megapixels. Yes, that looks so much better, doesn't it? Okay, let's swap over to standard and see what that delay is like. Lovely. That's nice and quick, virtually instant, high definition. Quite a bit slower. Guessing it's just, yeah, it's quite a few bits to transfer. Let's try increasing it and see if that makes it any worse. Hey, hold on. Which one did I just increase? No, that's fine. Yeah, my network can't handle that many. I imagine if you're hardwired, you won't have that lag. I'll test that out later and let you know. But to this point in these tests, they're all meant to be the same, and I haven't done any other cameras hardwired. So there's a bit of a lag. Snapshot saved files, recording, saved files, mirror and flip, useful, night vision off, failed to connect, night vision auto. This app's a bit slow, has to be said. Okay, so it's either auto or off, that's fine. Image adjustment, that's a nice feature. We had that on the rear links, but haven't had that since then. Let's reset to default, and we don't have to worry about it. Then we've got, don't know what this is. I have to say, it's not the most intuitive app to use. Replay, no recordings. So that's for fisheye lenses, which we don't have. Yeah, I feel like these cameras are, well, they obviously are designed for use in a big setup with a proper NVR. I didn't even read what that said. And as such, privacy mode devices only, so it doesn't have privacy mode. This must be motion detection. Except it failed to receive the configuration, which we did set up. So we've saved our configuration, so we should be able to just retrieve it. but it's not working. So actually, I'm not overly impressed by that. But I suppose it's also designed... Oh, there we go, so it did save that video. And it saved that picture. I'm not sure where they're saved, potentially just in the app. Yeah, you can see that it's clearly designed for a system that's much bigger than just one camera. It's a professional level camera really, isn't it? It doesn't really, the app isn't intuitive enough to be kind of using it to check up on the dog, nor would you want to spend £120 on a camera you use to check up on the dog. It seems to have a lot of features in it. It's a bit irritating it can't get this motion detection to work. I will keep trying that. But that is a bit disappointing. It's worth saying this also does have a desktop app, so I will see if it's any different on there. I imagine it's going to be the same as this, just, you know, slightly different layout. Yeah, other than that, I think that's it for these two cameras. As you can see, it is a lot better in terms of its image quality on this camera, which is 4 megapixels, compared to this camera, which is only 2. But in terms of actual features, this one doesn't really have any built into the camera because it's not designed to. It's designed to have an NVR or Blue Iris or something like that, which does all the work for you. Yeah, so that's these two cameras really. Now I've had these cameras up and running for a little while now, so I thought I'd share my thoughts about them. The Amcrest system is what I'd call a professional system. It's definitely great if you have a complete security custom-made system and you've got NVRs and all sorts of fancy stuff, but I would not recommend it if you just want a camera to keep an eye on the dog. As such, the mobile app is really not user-friendly. The Amcrest desktop software and web interface, however, is much better. It's much easier to use and find your way around the settings pages. But, admittedly, that is by design. These cameras are not designed to be plug and play. They're not designed for your general consumer. They are a professional system, and I'm sure they do very well at that. The camera does have an Ethernet port, and when you do plug it in, you get a much better response time and significantly less lag, which is great. If I was speccing out an entire complete security system, then I would definitely have no hesitations with going with Amcrest. The build quality is great and you know what you're going to get. However, if someone asked me what they should get as a standalone camera, I can't say I would recommend this product. I think the Reolink E1 Zoom is a much better option to bridge that gap between entry level and really basic and professional. Now, the biggest problem with the Q8 that I found is the fact that you had to enable OnVIF manually. I'll leave a link to the forum post where I discovered how to do this below, but you basically have to add a file to your SD card, put the SD card in the camera and reboot it, and that enables the OnVIF support. It's odd that to enable this is so simple, and yet it doesn't come shipped with OnVIF enabled. Not sure why, but there we go. Motion detection in the app isn't very good. The notifications are hit and miss, and there's a big delay on them. And when you hardwire the camera, you don't notice any reduction in lag, which is a shame. For a very cheap camera, it works. If you want to spend as little money as possible and have an OnVIF enabled camera, then this is great. But if you just want a cheap camera that you can use to watch the dog, and you're not concerned about OnVIF and those kind of higher level feature sets, I'd recommend going with a more mainstream brand, like the TP-Link Tapo C200. If you want to get your hands on any of the cameras I've mentioned today, including the 2 that I've reviewed, then I've left links below as to where you can find them. So there we go, the Amcrest 1051 and the Xiaovv Q8. Make sure you hit subscribe and click that bell icon below to find out more about my smart tech and how you can build yourself the ultimate smart home.